My name is Melvin and I'm doing a great interview with Leo, and Leo going to introduce himself and tell us about before and after what he experienced. Okay, it's all on you now, Leo.
Great. So my name is George Leo Diaz, mostly known to my friend as Leo. Basically going to talk to what was life like before COVID and after COVID. Pretty much before COVID hit, pretty much open. I can go anywhere, do things with my family. Didn't really have to have a concern of what places I can go to in terms of going out of state or going to restaurants. I'm big on family, so like every Saturday or Sunday, I was when I with my family to eat stuff like that. That's no longer the case. We really got to kind of like pick and choose. What also was impacted my life every year, I take my daughters away. We take a family vacation out of the country, and for the last, say, 12 years, that's been a common family practice. That was no longer the case. Didn't go anywhere this year with my family, so that kind of brought like a little hint of sadness because they look forward to that every year. It was also kind of like a bonding opportunity for us, but it always like a reward that, guys completed school, we're good, so on to the next. Also birthday parties, or birthday celebrations, birthday celebrations were also interrupted. All of my kids' birthdays, including me and my wife's birthdays, were in the high point of the pandemic, so we couldn't celebrate those. It was really kind of like closed in. Really couldn't even go shopping and really do great gifts because the majority of the stores were closed, so that kind of put a damper on things. So that was my life, right? I just started going back to the gym, but prior to that, I was, going to the gym, and that went from, going to the gym in the early months to staying at home, working out. Didn't really have an avenue to just basically dedicate some me time, right? So that was one of the things. So the working out thing was kind of really impactful. So, life overall changed, right? Even going to the dentist, I finally went to the dentist last month. I couldn't get a dental appointment for about 4 months, and I was due. So that was a big thing. And along with the doctors as well, so even getting my regular medical checkup and going to the dentist was impacted because I could no longer just call in and say, hey, well, what openings do you have last week? Now I went to, we're on appointment only. There's no walk-ins. We have availability 2 months from now, right? With that being said, a lot of times I had to go to the emergency room. Like, I'm asthmatic. So one time I got sick and I couldn't see my doctor, so I had to go to the emergency room. So that was, also, I had to pay a little bit more money because normally I would just go to my doctor and get my medications and he would see me. And now I had to go to the emergency room. And even that changed because they send you away right away if it wasn't an emergency. Throughout the course of this, I'm working the reentry field, so I've been tagged as an essential worker because we work with a very impacted population. I worked the whole time from the COVID to now. It's kind of sadness how, going to work was just seeing the sadness that the city was in, right? Just how people were just really in despair, not really knowing where the next thing was going to come from. Many people that I know lost their jobs. I don't know anyone directly that was impacted, that passed away. But I do know personal friends that were personally impacted, but none that passed away. I had a very good friend of mine that I basically thought he wasn't going to make it. I had spoke to him. He got infected. I spoke to him about a week after he was diagnosed, and I felt so sad because when I was talking to him, it was like he was on his last breath, and I felt so guilty to even give him a call that he couldn't even speak. So luckily he made it through. So I know I kind of got mixed it up with pre and post. So basically, pre-COVID, I could basically go on my vacations, go to work, see the city in its full a state of activity. Basically go to any restaurant that I wanted, go to any state that I wanted. There wasn't any restrictions. Post-COVID, everything now is pretty much, I have to kind of Google places or find out what's open, what's available, to see what states have been identified as hotspots or what neighborhoods have been identified as hotspots. I don't ride the train unless I absolutely have to do. And when I ride it, when I ride the train, I'm in basically a heightened state of security. I don't touch anything. Constantly just moving away from people. So I came from being this very social person to almost being like antisocial because of the situation. I don't really shake anyone's hands anymore. Everything is a tap or elbow greeting or just a head nod. And then also learning the virtual world, right? I mean, everything we do now is basically virtual, which is attest to the call we're having right now. You know, that's a little problematic. Like I said, I'm a very social person. I believe in human contact. That has kind of like changed, right? But one of the most impactful things that has happened to me is the mental state of my children. You know, my children basically have stayed at home this whole time. You know, children as they're growing, they need stimulus. They need to be out there enjoying their life, getting life for what it's worth, and that has actually has become limited. Only really engage with family members. Everything to them is a virtual world, and I feel so sad to just kind of see this in the state of despair sometimes. Like, Daddy, we just want to go out, right? So, you know, I always tell them, I said, it's not that I'm restraining you or that I'm keeping you from going out, but at the end of the day, my job as a parent is to keep you safe. And even though you feel that your friend is okay, she look like she's okay, I don't know who her family has come in contact with, and vice versa, right? So I gotta kind of like really just, you know, kind of throw that out there. I mean, they roll with it because I know that I'm acting in their best interest. But you know, that the saddest part is dealing with my children and how they adjust to the world. Just so unfair to them, right? So yeah, it has not really been an easy transition. You know, this whole virtual thing, the kids, traveling, it's just completely different now. You know, the mask, I hate wearing this mask. I mean, I feel like I'm always restrained, and then even when I forget the mask, it just causes such a level of frustration. Sometimes I walk out my car with shit. Pardon me. You know, I forgot the mask. I gotta run back to the car, and sometimes I'm like a block away, and I literally gotta walk all the way back to get a mask, right? So you know, just life is different now. Life is different. And it's not a fun different, right? It would have been different if it was a fun different. That, you know, life was all full of, you know, laughs, jokes, and funniness. But no, it's about being cautious, over precautious. You know, and developing an antisocial behavior, learning to live through the world through virtual platforms. So it's just a lot to adjust to. And then, you know, the sad part is that no one was really prepared for this, right? And that's the sad part, that this just happened so abruptly. I guess if the president, this clown that we call a president, would have probably acted earlier on, maybe we wouldn't been in the situation that we are right now. I was actually listening to Obama the other day during the time he was in office, and they actually had a plan built around how to respond to a pandemic, and this clown of a president just basically, you know, threw it away. Like, that was, we don't need that plan. And look who we are right now, right? I think right now they say like almost 100,000 people, like we're in this second or maybe even third spurt of this virus growing. You know, we're almost like 100,000 daily. Daily, I think today's 88,000 new infections, right, nationally. So it was downtown, and I remember how active 43rd and First used to be. And I went down there the other day, and it was like a ghost town. You know, there wasn't no vending trucks on the corner that you normally used to see. Activity was very, very, very limited. And I was like, wow, this is good. By Grand Central, and we know how crazy that is. And it was basically, you know, we went from thousands of people to just a handful of people. It's just really sad that, you know, we're living in this, you know, post-pandemic, man. And, you know, it doesn't seem like it's getting any better anytime soon. Yeah, so that's all I got to say, brother.
Yeah, that was very interesting. You know, I really appreciate your input on this, and I think it was very rewarding. But I got one more question here, because, you know, you got these two papers that I'm doing, but one of them, it was when we was going through this pandemic and locked in, and then it was the explosion of the George Floyd and the marching by the Black Lives Matter movement. So it sparked up a whole new different situation here. So what was your take on that, on the Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd?
Oh, well, this was basically, that is a great question. This was basically, let's look at the positive sides of this, right? When people not working, staying at home, having things to do, we probably needed that to really get focused. Not that we needed to be reminded of the abuse of law enforcement against Black and brown lives, but this George Floyd thing, people weren't preoccupied with going to work. People weren't preoccupied with other daily events. Now this George Floyd thing happens, and now the whole world is watching now.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, like this has been going on for how long, and we've turned our eye to it for such a long time. We've been dealing with this from day one, right? But because there were so many different distractions that took place in our life, I guess, during this pandemic phase or period, people took time out to pay attention. And this paying attention just really put focus on how Black and brown lives have been impacted at the hand of law enforcement, right? I mean, just the level of brutality, the level of neglect for the next human being. So this was monumental. I mean, I talk to you for all the time, and I always say, this is basically your time for you guys to stand up and just point out and show, like, how we're not having this no more. Like, it's enough already. I mean, look at what happened just yesterday. Another Black man was murdered in Philly, right? And, I'm definitely against, destroying our own neighborhoods and breaking it down. But, and I hate to say this because I'm a pretty intelligent person, but, sometimes you got to act out. Sometimes you got to act just to bring attention where it needs to be at. So definitely, having the pandemic, having the George Floyd thing happen, it was just gave people an opportunity to say, hey, you know what? We really need to take a look at this, and we really need to make a movement because enough is enough already. So that's basically, I wouldn't say it's a plus because there's nothing out of plus of people being brutalized and being abused, but the fact that this gave an opportunity to actually bring this, center stage, the abuse to bring it center stage.
Yeah, well said, well said. And hopefully throughout this turnout with the voting that's right now, the early voting, a lot of people is going there, and I watched the line, and there's a huge amount of people. This is really good, and hopefully this turnout would, benefit all of us. Where we get a new regime in the office, and we look for change. So this might be what we really look for and what we're going to get. So I appreciate your interview and your thoughts, and because I'm actually filming, wherever I could, and then posing different questions. So they like that because it gives great contents. And this is a great content because they the one who suggested it.
Right.
Nobody had asked questions like that before.
Right.
On now, and therapeutic. They said they want to hear what people's going through. You got to know that,
And I want to kind of add this piece too, like for guys like us that have been criminally justice impacted,
yes.
Dealing with this pandemic has been a little easy for us in the sense that, we're used to being locked down, right?
Come on now, come on.
Right, automatically go to making a routine. I remember when I was in the box, I was thinking that a while ago, when I was in the box, like the whole time was used up. Like I would get up at 5 o'clock, work out, clean, eat breakfast, go to the yard at 7, come back, read some books, exercise some more, get on the gate, you know what I'm saying? Work out some more, running my cell, right? I mean, I remember I used to tell people how I used to jog in my cell. And they was like, well, how you used to jog in a cell? And it's only like,
we ain't going nowhere.
I was like, that's 5,280 feet in a mile. Mm-hmm. So I would count off from the front of my cell to the back of my cell, how much that was, and divide it into.
That's right. That's right.
Well, that's the way we did it, and going into the our survival, right? So our survival, the peanut butter and jelly, right?
All day long,
right? So when I got locked up, my wife was like, oh, "Why you buying all this damn dry canned food and all this food canned?"
I still got some of it right now. I still keep it.
Look, peanut butter and jelly.
Survival. That's right.
I was say that for like a lot of brothers that been through that system. I think it was a little bit more easier for us to kind of get through it because we go back to survival mode of how we live there. But I guess the hard part came in seeing our families go through it. And I say, for me, the hardest part is seeing my children adjust to this, and I know, and that's been the hardest part. But for me, you know, I'm pretty good with routine, so it doesn't really didn't bother me as much as someone else, right? Because life changes, and like I said, I was an essential worker, so I still came to work. I think I probably, out of the whole time, I probably stood home like 2 or 3 weeks in between. So that was about it. So I've been going to work back and forth ever since it started, more or less, you know?
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. It's you know, and vice versa. You know, I'm the same way, where it's not really affected me the way it would affect anybody else. Even though I communicate with my family through the Zoom, because they from South Carolina, Maryland, New Jersey, and we all get together, but they going through something different. You know? And I'm looking at them, I said, what the, you know, but then they understood me more. They said, well, you served about 25 years. And I said, listen, them 25 years benefited me because, you know, times I was in the box, locked up, and then they had a riot or something, and the whole system, you know, wherever it was at was locked down. And we all couldn't go nowhere. So it was normal stuff, you know. I mean, you know.
That's right. You can't go nowhere in jail anyway. So.
Exactly, right. So when this thing right here hit, you know, I just went to my survival, you know. Like, hey, I'm still, they wonder, are you still going? I said, yeah, I still do my bike. I still do this. I exercise. I do all these things because this is what I'm used to. You know, I maintain where I have my mask on, stay 6 feet away, sanitize myself, you know, don't get into no crazy stuff. So all of this stuff, you know, I ain't going no crowded places. I ain't gonna be doing all that stuff, but I gotta get out. That was the whole thing. I said, I can't be locked up in the, you know, I can't do that. I gotta get out. I gotta get some air. I gotta make sure I'm surviving because, you know, mentally we'll die. Mentally, stay inside and don't want to do nothing. And then we get scared, get depressed, get stressed out. I see a lot of people doing that already. You know, they are depressed and stressed out and they ain't gonna make it. You know, I'm looking at them right now. I said, you ain't gonna make it. Keep that going. And some of them be thinking that it's gonna be over soon. No, it's not. I hate to tell you that. This is the way it is now, you know. All of this politics stuff that you hearing and they gonna do this, they cannot. It's like the Spanish flu. Spanish flu, same way. So we going through that same situation. So y'all got to deal with this. So I feel, you know, by me giving back to, you know, my art and doing the video and doing these interviews, this is where I get back, you know. You gotta stay strong, and it's the only thing that we can do. And this is therapeutic.
I welcome you for doing it because, you know, it's very much needed, man. You know what I mean? It is what it is, right? I mean, sometimes people just need that place where they can just talk about it, right? You know, too many times we get caught with keeping it inside, and you know that's not the best. That's not the best plan, right? I mean, we all learn that. And the more you keep it inside, the more it's gonna build up, and ultimately it's gonna go a long way. So definitely, you know, I definitely pick you up for having this platform.
Thank you. So my next one, Angel had already texted me, so I got you know, interview with him because he's seen it on the Facebook and YouTube, and he said that was excellent, you know, what y'all did. So I'm down. He said Sunday, can you give me Sunday? Because he got you know, his schedule. So he definitely. And then Stills. Willis Stills, he said, yeah, man, put me, because he's way out there, and I want to hear how he go through, because he's a pastor, you know, Reverend church. So I want to hear how he, you know, I want different people to see what they went through, what their story is, you know.
So this is a sidebar. Yo, I want to start a podcast, man. Can you help me with that? I want to start a podcast. I don't know how to go about it. I want basically to talk about, you know, anything. My whole thing is to really talk about PTSD, post-incarceration, because, you know, that's where my heart is at.
Do it.
But I really have, you know, brothers that are doing positive things like us, and just really get a platform for brothers to talk about what's going on in the street and what's happening. I want to do a podcast. I just don't know how to go about it. And I know
I got
that you're basically connected to that type of industry, you know?
No, we can work on that, because at the organization we have a studio, and I already started a podcast. You know, they take us through a classroom setting already, and they educated me. I'm already experiencing it, so I know how to, you know. So, but yeah, we could do that. But the thing is, they got their podcast equipment down at the studio, and we cannot come in here. So the only way,
we could do it virtually, right? I mean, that's the world. That's the world that we live in, right?
We could do it like we're doing now, and then have it, you know, where the podcast can be where it's audio, and I can put it on SoundCloud. So we can always set up like we're doing right now. Just set up something, give me a date and time, and then we'll discuss, you know, about the PTSD. We can discuss about all kinds of stuff, you know, and then you can have people, you know, call into something and talk about this situation, because I had the veterans the same way. I had veterans come down. Because I was dealing with the homeless.
Double whammy.
Yeah. It was. I went to the veteran organization. I reached out to them and explained to them what and they said, yeah, that they had me coming up there with my cameras and videotape their therapeutic sessions, you know, with some doctors and veterans that went through all that. And then we had veterans come down there. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. So I was really into it until this thing happened. I said, uh-oh, shut down now. Because the veteran ain't letting you in that. They said, no, everything. They said, you ain't coming in here. And the thing is, you got to be careful, because I'm a veteran. And they let you know that right now. You come in here and your temperature is not right, and you got something, you know you ain't going back home. And I thought, that's how they are. They put you in that room, and that's it. I said, wait a minute now. They said, nah, no. They quarantine you right there. You don't know when you coming back. I told my sister, she said, now you don't want to do that. I said, I want to leave them alone. They serious about that.
All right. So we got some time. We'll chop it up, all right?
Yeah. We'll do it again, and I appreciate all the information and you
time, brother.
And I'm gonna edit this thing, you know, and we'll keep it as what I've been doing. Okay.
All right, man. Take care. God bless. Good talking to you.
Yep.